Libra, beautiful soul. Something you quietly set into motion is beginning to return to you in a real and tangible way. It is not an accident that this message reached you today. A subtle, energetic shift has already begun, and around June 5th and 6th, 2026, the scales start moving back into balance. This is not luck appearing out of nowhere. It is life responding to a choice you made in silence, and that choice is finally opening the door to abundance that feels aligned. Tell me honestly, Libra, have you ever wondered whether the universe truly noticed the moments when you chose integrity over convenience? Have you ever questioned whether anyone saw the sacrifices you made just to stay loyal to your own heart? If those thoughts feel familiar, this message was meant for you, because the answer has always been yes. Every time you walked away from toxicity, protected your peace instead of chasing approval, or stayed emotionally honest when it would have been easier not to, those moments were witnessed far beyond what you could see. And now, something deeper is settling into place. The energetic scales are balancing, Libra, and the spiritual weight of your choices has already been acknowledged. You are not entering this season because you forced it into existence, but because your soul stayed aligned through emotionally exhausting periods. Around June 5th and 6th, you may begin noticing subtle signs, an unexpected message, a financial opening, or simply the feeling that life is finally softening around you. Whatever form it takes, you will recognize it. Your body will feel lighter, your thoughts calmer, and something inside you will stop preparing for disappointment. And that feeling, Libra, is your confirmation. Before we continue, thank you for being here and sharing your energy in this space. Every comment, every like, and every moment you spend listening reflects a willingness to step into what is finally aligning for you. I appreciate your presence here more than words can fully express. Your support keeps these messages alive, and I want you to remember that you are seen, valued, and spiritually guided through this season of change. Stay with me through this message, because what is unfolding now is more than prediction. It is recognition. A reminder that something quietly growing beneath the surface is finally becoming visible. But before we move deeper, I want you to claim it openly. In the comments below, write, "The scales are finally balancing in my favor." Let those words become your confirmation that you are ready to receive what has been slowly making its way toward you. Take a slow breath, Libra. Let's begin. There are seasons in life when your decisions carry more truth than anything you could have explained out loud. Moments when no one notices your sacrifice, and yet something greater quietly keeps record of it all. You may have believed you were simply surviving while choosing the harder road. But from a deeper perspective, those choices became sacred exchanges, quietly shifting the balance of your life. The world measures value through status, money, and visible success. But the universe moves by a different rhythm. In that unseen economy, integrity holds more value than performance, and inner peace carries more weight than temporary gain. Every time you stayed honest when dishonesty would have been easier, every time you protected your soul instead of your image, you added another offering to an invisible ledger that has been growing all along. None of it went unnoticed, Libra. What others may have mistaken for softness, your empathy, patience, and refusal to become cruel after being hurt, carried a different kind of strength entirely. Those qualities were never weaknesses in the eyes of the universe. Even the tears you hid after choosing peace over compromise became proof that your soul refused to abandon itself for temporary comfort. The soul keeps its own form of wealth, built slowly through endurance, honesty, and the courage to stay aligned during seasons that test your spirit. And now, Libra, you are entering a period where those inner investments begin returning in visible ways. The scales are balancing again, not through chaos, but through a calm restoration that reflects the person you have become. When I speak about spiritual balance, I mean the quiet acknowledgement of consistency that has followed your choices for far longer than you realize. Imagine an unseen witness observing every moment you chose wisdom over reaction, every time you offered grace because you understood pain too well to pass it forward. This is how spiritual equity forms, little by little, through decisions most people never see. And Libra, your path has carried weight because your spirit naturally leans toward harmony and fairness in a world that often rewards the opposite. Still, you remained true to yourself. You did not let disappointment harden you, and you did not trade your integrity for temporary security. That is why this season feels so meaningful. What is returning now is not only about finances, it is about value, self-respect, and finally feeling life respond differently to your energy. There is a quiet wisdom in moments like these, a reminder that goodness is never wasted, even when it feels invisible for a long time. You kept offering light, even when gratitude did not return to you. You stayed aligned through emotionally draining seasons, and now that energy begins multiplying in ways that feel softer, steadier, and far more lasting than anything forced through struggle. I want you to understand that what is arriving now carries more than material meaning. It is confirmation that your soul has been moving in the right direction all along. The emotional and spiritual effort you poured into your hardest seasons was never meaningless. And what begins opening now unfolds with peace instead of pressure. So if something inside you has started shifting, even in the smallest way, trust it. This is not your imagination reaching for hope. This is the invisible finally becoming visible, the scales slowly returning to equilibrium after such a long period of emotional imbalance. Some of the deepest changes arrive without noise. You may wake up one morning, Libra, and notice the atmosphere around you feels lighter somehow, calmer in a way you cannot fully explain. Maybe it appears through a meaningful number, an unexpected message, a small financial return, or simply a quiet opening in your chest where tension once lived. At first, these moments may seem small or easy to dismiss, but they carry deeper meaning than they appear to. They are quiet confirmations that the energy around your life is beginning to shift because something within you shifted first. This is not random luck arriving out of nowhere. It is a spiritual return shaped by integrity, alignment, and the unseen laws that quietly bring energy back to where it belongs. The opening around June 5th and 6th carries a different kind of energy. It does not arrive to shake your life apart or force another painful lesson onto you. It arrives to reflect the person you slowly became through seasons that demanded patience, honesty, and emotional restraint. This flow recognizes the version of you that protected your peace while moving through darkness, the version that kept choosing soul over survival. Because of that, what begins returning now feels natural instead of forced. The balance being restored around you mirrors the balance you fought quietly to build within yourself first. Astrologically, this season also holds special significance for Libra, as Venus, your ruling planet of harmony, value, and emotional balance, forms a supportive connection with Jupiter, the planet of expansion and blessings. When these energies align, life begins moving with less resistance for those already aligned within themselves. It feels less like coincidence and more like the universe finally moving in rhythm with you instead of against you. And Libra, this season meets you exactly where your spirit already stands. What makes this shift meaningful is not only the material side of it, but the way it enters your life. These opportunities do not carry the heaviness of compromise, guilt, or emotional residue. They arrive with the energy of lessons honestly learned and growth built slowly over time. That is why your body may respond with relief instead of fear, with calm instead of tension. This is what happens when divine timing meets emotional readiness. Grace rarely crashes into life all at once. More often, it enters quietly, like light slowly filling a room at sunrise. The abundance unfolding now carries that same feeling, gentle but undeniable, as if life is finally returning what your spirit has long been prepared to receive. You no longer need to exhaust yourself chasing what belongs to you. What matters now is your willingness to receive openly, without shrinking yourself before something good can fully arrive. And if you have ever questioned whether your goodness truly mattered, let this season answer that doubt for you. Energy always finds its way back. It circles through time, deepens, multiplies, and returns in forms that match who you have become. So when that opportunity appears, when that sign reaches you, pause long enough to recognize it. This is what spiritual reciprocity often looks like. It arrives softly, but it arrives with certainty. Your role now is not to force the process. It is simply to recognize what is already moving toward you and allow yourself to welcome it. And when tarot reveals cards like the Hierophant, Judgment, Ace of Pentacles, and Six of Swords together, the message becomes impossible to ignore. These cards arrive at the exact moment your spirit is ready for confirmation instead of uncertainty. And Libra, what they reveal is powerful. You are leaving behind a season defined by emotional survival and stepping into one shaped by restoration and balanced growth. The Hierophant reminds you that your real strength never came from controlling outcomes. It came from staying aligned with deeper truths while the world pressured you to compromise your peace for approval or temporary security. While others rushed to prove themselves, you chose reflection, grace, and emotional integrity. You trusted your inner balance even when it would have been easier to follow the noise around you. That was never weakness. It was the foundation your spirit was building all along. And even when your efforts felt invisible, they were still witnessed. This card carries a simple message now. The quiet test you endured has already been passed. Then judgment appears, and this is where the energy shifts in a way that can no longer be ignored. This card carries the feeling of spiritual awakening, quiet at first, then undeniable. It is no longer asking you to chase validation or fight for recognition. It is asking you to stand fully inside your worth and receive what has already been moving toward you. You are no longer standing in the waiting room of your life, Libra. Something within you has shifted from preparation into readiness, from hoping into embodiment. What is unfolding now feels less like coincidence and more like your spirit responding to something it has always known was coming. The message here is clear. The balance has tipped, and the season of quiet endurance is beginning to turn into visible movement. That is why the Ace of Pentacles enters with such grounded energy. This card represents the physical expression of something your soul has already been building beneath the surface for a long time. For some, it may arrive as an opportunity, a financial opening, a contract, an inspired idea, or the beginning of something stable and lasting. But this energy reaches beyond money. It is movement after stagnation, proof that what you cultivated internally is finally taking shape in the material world. It feels different because it was never built from fear or emotional lack. What arrives now carries a cleaner frequency. It does not ask you to betray yourself for security or wrap itself in urgency and manipulation. This is abundance connected to clarity, self-respect, and emotional alignment. It feels lighter because your spirit no longer has to fight against itself to receive it. And then the Six of Swords brings one of the gentlest energies in this entire message. This card reminds you that it is finally safe to loosen your grip and breathe again. You are moving away from emotional chaos and inner exhaustion, and while the transition may feel slow, it carries the relief of finally leaving rough waters behind. This card is not about rushing toward perfection. It speaks about emotional passage, about being guided toward calmer spaces while you slowly learn how to trust peace again. If life has felt quieter lately, slower or harder to define, it may be because you are standing between two versions of yourself, leaving one shore while gradually approaching another. And the waters ahead feel different, Libra. Not flawless, but calmer, in a way your spirit has long been craving. When I look at these cards together, I do not just see opportunity. I see a carefully aligned transition unfolding at exactly the pace your soul can truly hold. This is the movement from surviving into receiving, from carrying hope alone into finally seeing evidence that things are changing. Somewhere deep inside, you sensed this shift long before it became visible. Even when it made no sense to others, something in you kept believing, quietly beneath the surface. Let your reward become more than what arrives externally. Let it also be the realization of who you became while surviving everything that tried to harden you. And if you have been waiting for confirmation that it is safe to move forward now, let this message meet you there. This moment is not here to test your worth again. It is here to place light back into your hands and remind you that you are finally ready to carry it. When these tarot cards appear together, they speak with remarkable clarity. They arrive like spiritual confirmation at the exact moment your spirit is ready to move beyond uncertainty and into alignment. And Libra, what this combination reflects is powerful. You are being guided out of emotional survival and into a season where restoration finally begins taking real shape around you. The Hierophant reminds you that your strength was never built through force or control. It was built through integrity, restraint, and your quiet decision to stay aligned with your deeper values even when the world encouraged compromise. While others searched outside themselves for direction, you kept listening to the inner compass, protecting your peace and balance. That was never weakness. It was the structure your spirit was building all along. Even when your efforts felt invisible, they were witnessed in ways you could not yet measure. This card carries acknowledgement, reminding you that the quiet test you walked through has already been recognized. And once again, judgment enters to signal the turning point, the moment your spirit no longer waits for permission to rise, but begins stepping fully into what it already knows it deserves. Then the Ace of Pentacles returns with open hands, grounding that spiritual shift into tangible form. Whether it arrives through opportunity, financial support, a meaningful beginning, or a path slowly unfolding beneath your feet, this energy reflects movement shaped by alignment rather than lack. What enters your life now carries the feeling of something earned honestly, something rooted in light rather than pressure. It is abundance that arrives with peace attached to it. And perhaps the gentlest message in this entire spread comes through the Six of Swords, the card that reminds you it is finally safe to breathe again. You are slowly moving away from emotional chaos and the inner exhaustion that shaped so many of your earlier choices. This energy is not forcing you into sudden transformation. It is guiding you quietly across emotional waters, carrying you toward calmer ground before you even feel fully ready to stand there on your own. If life has felt quieter lately, slower, or harder to define, there is a reason for it. You are standing between chapters, leaving one emotional landscape behind while another slowly comes into view. The movement may feel subtle, but it is still movement. And while the waters ahead may not be perfect, they carry the kind of peace your spirit has needed for a very long time. When I look at this message as a whole, I see more than opportunity. I see a deeply aligned transition unfolding at the exact pace your soul can hold. This is the shift from waiting into receiving, from hoping things will change into finally recognizing that they already are. Somewhere deep inside, you sensed this moment long before it became visible to anyone else. Maybe you could not explain it clearly. Maybe the people around you did not understand why you kept believing through uncertain seasons. But you stayed connected to something deeper than appearances, and you continued trusting your inner balance even when nothing around you confirmed it yet. Let that become part of the reward too. Not only what arrives in your life, but the person you became while learning how to receive it. And if your heart has been searching for a sign that it is finally safe to move forward, let this be that sign. This moment is not here to wear you down again. It is more like a torch being placed back into your hands after a long walk through dim light. You are ready to carry it differently now. But not every spiritual test arrives looking difficult. Sometimes it comes disguised as familiarity, through an old connection, a familiar voice, or someone who once held emotional access to you. As your life begins opening toward greater balance and abundance, the universe is quietly asking whether you now recognize your own value more clearly than before. That is why this next chapter is less about generosity and more about discernment. Before larger blessings settle fully into your life, there is often a smaller moment that reveals whether you are prepared to protect your peace without falling back into old emotional patterns. Someone from the past may return, asking for access to your energy again, whether through friendship, family, romance, or emotional familiarity. Their story may be real, and your heart may immediately feel compassion for it. But what matters most now is your clarity. You will sense the difference quickly, the subtle heaviness pulling you back toward emotional spaces you worked hard to leave behind. And for a moment, you may question whether compassion means reopening doors that cost you your peace in the first place. This is where you pause and return to yourself. Love does not always require unlimited access. Forgiveness does not mean abandoning your boundaries, and helping someone should never require sacrificing your emotional stability. You are not responsible for rescuing every person who returns once your light begins shining more clearly again. That is not cruelty, that is alignment. Protecting your peace is now part of protecting the life unfolding around you. Spiritually, these moments act like threshold guardians, quiet tests that appear before major transitions fully open. Your answer is revealed through your choices, through your boundaries, and through your willingness to honor growth, even when it disappoints familiar expectations. And Libra, this lesson carries particular weight because your heart naturally moves toward harmony, understanding, and emotional fairness. You have spent years carrying others gently, often giving even while your own spirit quietly emptied itself. But this season asks something different from you. This time, turning inward becomes the deeper act of love. You have poured so much of yourself into others for so long. Now that your energy is finally beginning to refill, your responsibility is to protect what is growing there instead of allowing it to drain through unguarded emotional openings. What is entering your life now carries real value, and it is meant to build peace, stability, and longevity around you. And if saying no still feels uncomfortable, try seeing it differently. Every boundary that protects your peace creates room for the people and experiences truly meant for you. Every time you stop feeding what exhausts you, you say yes to the version of yourself that is finally ready not just to survive, but to genuinely thrive. And if guilt rises during this season, remind yourself gently that protecting your peace is not selfishness. You are learning how to care for what life is finally placing back into your hands. Sometimes old patterns return, dressed in familiar emotions or familiar people, and everything changes the moment you choose differently than you once did. The shift does not happen before the boundary, it happens because of the boundary. You have already done the difficult inner work, Libra. Now you are being asked to protect what has finally begun to bloom inside you. This moment is not testing your kindness, because your kindness has already been proven. It is asking whether you now understand the difference between compassion and self-abandonment. If you honor that lesson consistently, what unfolds next will speak for itself. You did not come here to keep shrinking yourself so others could remain comfortable. You came here to become someone through whom balance, clarity, and abundance could move naturally. And as this new cycle unfolds around June 5th and 6th, you are not being reminded of who you might become someday. You are being reminded of who you already are beneath the exhaustion and doubt you carried for so long. You are someone who protected light during darker seasons, someone who held on to truth while the world rewarded appearances over authenticity. The spiritual scales have already balanced, and when life looked closely at everything you endured, you were never found lacking. You were found ready. So if something feels different around June 5th and 6th, if the air feels lighter or your heart begins opening toward hope again, trust that feeling. What you are sensing is the response to the soul-level work you have already completed. This is abundance arriving not as applause for performance, but as proof that your integrity has finally rooted itself deeply enough to create real manifestation. This has never been about luck. It is about finally being recognized after seasons of feeling emotionally unseen. So let me ask you honestly, Libra, are you ready to receive what has already been trying to find you? Can you believe that the goodness you carried quietly through difficult seasons created a return greater than external validation ever could? And are you willing to accept that what is arriving now is neither too late nor too much, but perfectly timed for the person you have become? This is your season not to chase harder, but to receive more openly. Your role now is simply to continue walking forward with peace, balance, and trust in what is already unfolding around you. If this message stirred something inside your heart, speak it into existence in your own words. In the comments below, write, "The scales are finally balancing in my favor." And if you feel called to it, type 888 as your symbol of alignment, flow, and abundance unfolding naturally. This is the moment you stop standing at the edge of hope and begin allowing yourself to truly receive. Thank you for spending this time here with me today. Every comment, every like, and every shared moment of presence helps these messages reach people who may need them right now. And sometimes the sign someone else has been waiting for arrives through a person willing to pass a little light forward. So if this message settled somewhere deep within you, do not keep it to yourself. Like this video, subscribe for more messages like these, and share it with someone who may need reassurance right now. Because Libra, June 5th and 6th are not simply dates on a calendar. They mark the moment when balance begins visibly returning to your life. You are no longer standing outside your breakthrough, waiting for permission to enter it. You are already stepping into it, and the next chapter is quietly beginning to unfold.